the CEO of Orca Oshi, and I'm also an electronic dance music DJ. With that said, let's jump right in. Just want to give you all a caveat. Today has been an awful mental health day. So, for the trolls who are already probably going to make fun of the bags under my eyes, and I've cried my face off. Honestly, like I think a whole layer of skin has peeled off. So, it's like the most interesting chemical peel. Like I've literally cried so hard that I have like blisters under my eyes. No exaggeration. So troll away. So let's get into it. Evergrande. I don't know. I saw many of you were making comments in the C section or in my email and wanted me to talk more about Russia, China, what I find to be linear. For example, Moody's and Fitch downgrading Russian debt or their just Russian sovereign bonds to junk bonds. And I find it interesting that in September of 2021, the second largest property developer that defaulted their debt, it's called Evergrande. It's out of China. For those that don't know, the Chinese property sector did or is doing what our banks did in 2008. They're similar to a Lehman's or a Bear Stern, but I do think this was a little bit more well curated, perhaps, by the whom I like to refer to as the modern day Mao, aka President Xi, the leader of China. But Evergrande, Fantasia, Cynic, China Holdings, etc. Back to Evergrande. Evergrande is the second largest property developer in China. They defaulted in 2021. Fitch and Moody's downgraded them to junk. And here we are today with the Fitch and Moody slashing Russia's sovereign rating to junk. So I just find it interesting. I talk about the de-dollarization project from 2014. Wouldn't it be interesting if, let's say, the third largest exporter of palladium and nickel stopped exporting? Because that's Russia. And I do find it very interesting. Again, I'll go back to December of 2021. China had the world's largest grain supply. Ukraine is one of the largest grain exporters. Do they have that much better intelligence than the rest of the world? What did they know that we did not? They knew to stockpile grain, and I have questions. I want to know how and why we are allowing a modern day Mao to do so, or did we already let that go? I wanted to talk about how gas has hit $4 for the first time since 2008. I've been trying to articulate to prep for a depression, recession. If you notice, economists and analysts now don't want to use trigger terms like depression. That's too suffocating. So they use more soft language like correction. And so, hi, what's up? So they use those words like correction, and they muddy the water and the rhetoric down so badly now. For example, they act like the stocks are doing so great when so many of the S&P 500 stocks have already lost 20% of their value plus. Yet the economists and analysts will talk about how great the day is. Okay, compared to what? A year ago? Okay, yikes. Let's just keep going, right? Uh, let's not forget the US debt clock is we're at the highest amount of debt we've ever been, and the Fed Reserve will begin to hike interest rates next week. So remember, just like I said last time, prepare for rate hikes. Get your debt paid down or paid off. Check and know your APR for your credit card. Remember, the Fed Reserve had an emergency meeting that was in secret, even though it was on the website, to discuss discount rates for the banks, which is the price the banks that are I always tongue twist, Fed Reserve preferred banks are going to get discount rates. And so, yeah, so that happened. And when the discount rates go up, your ability, my ability, well, I guess in the private equity space, maybe not as much, but still, the ability to borrow goes up. So I've always said again, their agenda, for my personal opinion, was to always drive corporate and personal debt up and then hike those interest rates up like Elon Musk to really wealth transfer, and I believe that I'm on track. I believe they're probably going to only hike 0.25 basis points. This seems to be a very dovish, non-Greenspan reserve. I don't know how, as someone who professes to be a monetarist, I'm not sure where Jerome Powell falls. And again, the Carlyle Group, I expect so much more from, being they have such an extraordinary founder like David Rubenstein. So that's a as a whole made an existential error from the moment they began the quantitative easing in 2019, July 30th, 31st, 2019, and began to print money and then do Fed. The Fed didn't print the money. Let's just be very clear. I always want to make this clear and concise. And I don't know why YouTube doesn't flag other people's videos. The Fed Reserve doesn't print the money. Okay. The Fed Reserve doesn't print the money. You know who does? The Treasury. Boom. And then you have something called the repo markets. Boom. But the Fed Reserve doesn't print it. They distribute it. They can repo it from the Treasury. But the Treasury prints the money. Okay? Are we clear? Because I keep hearing these economists in $2,000 suits complain about the Fed printing money, and that is just a fucking lie. That's misinformation at its best. It's the type of information that dumbs Americans down, and it's the type of misinformation that we just don't need. Remember, if you hear fiscal policy, they should be talking about Congress. If you hear monetary policy, they should be talking about the Federal Reserve. Let's try to use vocab terms accurately, people. We got a depression to prep for. Okay? Something interesting I thought to bring to you all's attention. And salam alaikum kif halek kifakum shlonek anamak arabiya batmana assalam alkil. With that said, Saudi Arabia, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has said that OPEC Plus will still be honored. Therefore, Russia's oil exports and related to Saudi Arabia, and the other plot twist, spoiler alert. You guys noticed a pattern and trend here that I've been bringing to you all from the de-dollarization project of 2014 to OPEC Plus of 2014-16. Notice how it's like not including Americans. I don't know if America is missing the memo, but right now America's acting like the person that always shows up to the party uninvited. Except this time America's just not showing up. America's acting like the third wheel, the side chick, because all we do is give our money out to every other country but ourselves. We are the epitome of what happens. I don't know. We do. We give, and we are lazy. We don't make shit to make shit. Gold bars. I find gold to be very interesting right now. First off, I think it's imminent that we recognize that Russia and Putin have the largest, arguably, he is the richest man in the world. And I would equate that to their gold reserves. China, the best of my knowledge, has the largest world reserve of gold. I am a big fan of precious metals. I own them personally, but I'm for owning the physical stuff, tangible. I can always post JD Bullion, SD Bullion. I could post it in the C section below, the comment section. Specifically is, as someone in the digital asset management space, if I want to use my Bitcoin to purchase gold or silver, I can do so. And they also let you use Ethereum, however you want to pronounce it, I think based on wherever you are in the world. And so I know Brent crude was trading at about $128 today. Do you all think that we're going to see $200 oil barrels of oil? And what do you all think about Russia and Ukraine being some of the world's largest food exporters? What do you think about China already stockpiling grain, having half of the world's grain supply? So not even a smidge. We're talking full blown by December, half the world's grain supply. And do you all think this is a coincidence that Fitch and Moody's downgraded Evergrande, second largest property developer in the world? So that means that UBS, FAC, and BlackRock, well, I know that they had Russia holdings, but I know for sure UBS has Evergrande as well. So what happens to the people's portfolios who have those types of investments with Evergrande or with Russian sovereign debt, Russian bonds. Citigroup has 10 billion. What happens to all of that money? Could it be possible that two of the economies that want to de-dollarize the dollar are doing the damn thing? Kind of scary to think about, but or is it just a coincidence? Is it just coincidental that in September of 2021, the second largest property developer in the world was declared junk by Moody's and Fitch, and today Russian sovereign debt? And by the way, these countries both are not some of the heaviest debt carriers. In fact, the United States is 12, Japan is number 1. Russia had not missed any debt payments as of February 3rd, 2022. I have not checked, so I can only go based on my noggin. And there's a lot of stuff up there. And this isn't even getting to the good stuff. Please make sure you all read the fine print of your mortgage. Make sure you are doing everything you can if you have an adjustable rate mortgage to prepare for rate hikes, because my dark circles we can make go away. Fine print and contracts is way more difficult. You can't just ink over it the way I could just get some makeup and color under my eyes like a crayon. You tracking with me? So we just want to make sure that everyone's okay. Ronnie and my partner and I very much believe in equitable opportunity and finance for all. And so the only way we can do that is to share and care and really focus on the Fed. Let's not lose sight of the Fed. Let's, of course, not depend if he's in a sentence free pour les gens Ukraine. For the people of Ukraine, let's, of course, pray for them. Let's do what we can to love, care. For the people of Russia, Ukraine, Yemen, Syria, Somalia, everywhere that's getting bombed right now, because everyone's life affected by war is tragic. War sucks ass, but it's a hell of a moneymaker. And that is a fact. Facts don't care about my feelings, and finance doesn't give a fuck about my feelings. So feelings here, finance there. If I have one quote to live by, that's it. But it doesn't mean that we should not treat people equally and lament any type of suffering, no matter where it is going on. And I just want to take, before I end this video, the water crisis. I believe we're going to see a global water shortage. I do. I know that in the summer, the Colorado River had some issues, and America, and I did some digging and in my ADHD-ish ways that just cannot be still. And I found almost every county in each state has some water issues, whether it be poison or has been put on water alert or has been told to pull back from their water usage. So, America, watch out. I think bottled water is going to be very important for survival. So, if I might just make a friendly suggestion from one friend to another, take care of yourself, you all, because this depression is going to be a global one. And it looks to me as though the globe is suffering from global water crisis and issues, even from Lebanon to random places all over the globe. So one that we can live on right now, because we have not colonized Mars. And I'm sure the second that we do, we will probably be fracking the fuck out of it. So with that, and a habak te amo.